Have you ever wondered what Modèle United Nations mean? Or you have wondered how to participate or what benefits you stand to gain? Then this is for you. Salut! Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For subtitles, please just click on the subtitle button, and whichever language you actually want this to be translated into, it will definitely be. And it's so glad to be here again. If this is your first time here, there's so much value in this tribe, so do also just click on the subscribe button and ensure that you put on your notifications so that you would get notified when new videos drop. Okay, if you're a returning subscriber, oh my god, you have my hugs. Alright, have you ever wondered what Modèle United Nations mean? Or you have wondered how to participate or what benefits you stand to gain? Then this is for you. So just take a snack, a smoothie, sit back and enjoy, because we are in here for a great ride. So we're going to talk about facts about Modèle United Nations MUN, and then we'll talk about how to participate and the benefits you stand to gain. It's important that you know that Modèle United Nations is a replica, a simulation of what happens in the United Nations. And as you know, the United Nations is actually one of the world's most leading organizations that actually work towards peace, security and progress of countries. So it comes up with policies, resolutions, just for the advancement of countries. It's also the propeller of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. I know you would have heard of that several times, SDGs. So Modèle United Nations is just bringing to your local community what actually happens in the United Nations. And so this means that delegates come from each country to come and represent and lend their voice. They come to embody a people. They come to speak on behalf of a country. You're more or less like an ambassador coming to actually represent a country in the United Nations. It's also important for you to know that Modèle United Nations is actually a very, very good ground for you to improve your diplomacy skills, your writing skills, your communication, your research skills, teamwork, and a lot more that you actually stand to gain. Okay, apart from this, you need to know that Modèle United Nations is actually an independent body, so it is not funded by the United Nations. However, it's actually under the jurisdiction of the United Nations Information Center. I'm actually speaking as regards Nigeria now, and I think it might actually be the same for other countries too. So United Nations Information Center actually gives approval to bodies, or most times in this case universities, who are actually ready to take it up and actually organize a MUN in their space. So these universities have to agree and then have to meet the necessary criteria for them to be able to organize this conference, because they have to follow certain procedures. Also, just as you have many committees in the United Nations, you have the same in Modèle United Nations. So you have something like the General Assembly, where all delegates come together, they talk about the theme. Every conference has a theme really. So in the General Assembly, delegates of each country talk about the stance of their country as regards that theme. For instance, in the last REMUN, the last one that I attended, Redeemers University, Modèle United Nations, we actually talked about peace and sustainability, a call to action for all. This of each country just comes to say the stance of their country about that topic. It's also important to know that the General Assembly is also where resolutions are passed after all deliberations have been made. Other committees that are involved in the United Nations also include the United Nations Security Council, that's UNSC, you have SOCOM, you have ECOFIN, you have UNECA, which is the United Nations Economic Committee for Africa. You also have ICJ, that's International Court of Justice. So you also have DICE, that's the disarmament body. So delegates represent countries in each of these committees. Further speaking, I know you'll actually like to know who are the people involved. Now, when you're talking about stakeholders or the major actors of any Modèle United Nations, the principal main actors are the delegates, and these are people who actually come to represent each country. Apart from this, you have the heads of the committees. We have the president, the vice president, and the rapporteur. Then for the General Assembly, you have the president of the General Assembly, you have the vice president of the General Assembly, and you also have the Secretary General. Apart from these officials, you also have the General Conference officials, those that deal with logistics, the finances, welfare, and all that, just to see to the success of the program. And then we also ask about age. What are the criteria for you to participate in any Modèle United Nations? Generally, the standard is that anyone from ages 18 to 30 can actually participate in any Modèle United Nations. However, due to peculiarities, some Modèle United Nations may have restrictions or may have age range. So the only thing you need to do is check through their criteria, their procedures, and if you actually fall into this age range, why not? You could just go into it. You need to also know that it's actually open to anyone between that age range. So it's open for undergraduates, postgraduates, working class, just anyone. So it's not limited to undergraduates, even though most times undergraduates are really the ones that participate more in it. Then you also need to know that it's not limited to any field. So as much as many international relations students participate in it, it's not only meant for international relations students. You can, if you are an language student, if you are someone from computer engineering, I know someone from computer engineering actually participated. If you are from political science, if you are from foreign languages, if you are from sociology, if you are from medicine, you can actually participate, because you need to understand that policies and resolutions actually cut across different fields, and the sustainable development goals actually cut across different fields. So your input is actually very, very necessary. And then another thing you need to know is that you can actually be given any country. However, if you register on time, you have a choice to select your preference of committee and country, and you may actually be given. Another thing I must not forget to talk about is that before any Modèle United Nations conference, you are expected to actually write a position paper. So in your committee, whichever committee you are put in, there is always a topic or topics that the committees would be discussing, and it actually goes in line with the visions and missions of that committee. So for instance, the Security Council actually works towards security, promotion of security and peace in countries. So any topic that will be discussed would actually go in line with that goal. The last one that I attended, we talked about peace, sustainability and territorial definition in the Middle East. And a major stakeholder in this subject was Israel. So you have Israel and Palestine. So for UNECA, which deals with economic committee, or let's say economic growth for Africa, the topic they will choose would actually revolve around that. So there might also be certain countries which might be focused on, or maybe it's just general. So when you come, you talk about the stance of your country on that topic. If there are problems, if there are things you want to be resolved, then you bring them forth. Everyone will contribute, and then policies and resolutions can be made to actually make things better. Okay, I need to say this here. When you are representing a country and the delegates of a country in the Modèle United Nations, you should know that you're not there to represent yourself. So you're not going there as Admiral by the bribe, you're actually going there as the delegates of the state of Israel. You are going there as the delegates of Nigeria, and that's one of the reasons why the pronoun I is forbidden. You are not to say I. So even if personally you do not agree with some of the country's stance or the country's position, I mean in real life now, because you're a delegate of that country, you have to always defend the interest of your country. So you're not talking from a personal perspective, you're not talking from what you think is right from your judgment. You are just going there to represent and defend a country's interests. I know that one of the questions you might be asking is, okay, so which of these conferences are available? Okay, I wish to participate. Which ones can I actually participate in? And I would actually give you a list of conferences right now. You could also search for more. Please, if you know of more, you could just drop them in the comment section so I can help our other family members. So one is IFEMUN. IFEMUN is IFE Modèle United Nations, and that is organized in OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. You also have Ibadan, that's organized in UI. You have Rimon, and that was the last one I went for, that's Redeemers University, Model United Nations, and that's at Ede. You have Bimon, that's Babcock International Model United Nations, and that happens in Ogun State. We also have Bowen Model United Nations. There is also one that is organized for secondary school students. So you have Nisimon. Then you should also know that as Model United Nations is actually organized in Nigeria, it is also organized in other countries of the world. Anyone can actually participate. So there are external delegates. You can decide to go for a Model United Nations in France, you decide to go for a Model United Nations in Brazil, you decide to go for a Model United Nations in Ghana. Anyone from Ghana could decide to come here, anyone from Togo could decide to come to Nigeria to just participate in any Model United Nations. So there is no discrimination, there's no restriction to country. So you are coming to actually represent a country. So what are the benefits of participating in Model United Nations? One is that you actually have the experience. You learn what actually happens in the United Nations. There is actually, you learn the procedures, you learn the rules, you learn how to speak. Another thing is that you also learn diplomacy, you learn how to defend your point, you learn to be able to communicate with others and then justify your points on why certain interventions need to be made. Apart from this, you improve on your communication and your public speaking skills, especially if you're an introvert like me. You also improve on your research skills. I mean, it may not really be formal like the academic research, but the fact is that you have to go research on this country, so you get to know about the history, about facts concerning these countries. And it's also important that you know that you are not only going to research about your country, you are also going to research about other countries so that you know how well to participate and then give necessary responses when it is time. Further speaking, you actually improve more on critical thinking. I mean, it gets to a point in your committee where it feels like, okay, these problems are actually much, and you just need to think out of the box, try to look for sustainable solutions to what problem. So it really helps you in the critical thinking. Apart from this, you improve more in teamwork because you have to work together, especially when you form blocks. You have to know how to work together. Then if you are participating as an official, you definitely improve on your leadership skills. Even if you are participating as a delegate, if you lead a block, you are definitely going to improve on your leadership skills. Then you get to improve on your writing skills because you need to write, especially when you're writing your position paper. So you get to know the necessary clauses you need to introduce. You also get to know how well to actually write better. Then get access to network with creative minds like yours, and you get a certificate. Maybe not all, but at least I think for many you actually get a certificate. So you get to boost your CV and then just have a very worthwhile experience. How can you participate in any Model United Nations? For me, I would just say that as much as possible, follow these organizations on their social media platforms, because that is one of the places you can easily get to know when a conference is actually coming up. Ensure that you also follow me on my social media handles, because I would actually post on any conference I know as much as possible. Then start saving. For some people, the price might be high, but for some others, it may not. However, I think it's just very good that you actually start saving, so that when it's time for registration, especially if you really didn't get to know about it earlier, you can easily pay for it. Then it's better you actually register for early birds, because early birds are way cheaper than you going for late registrations. In my next video, I'm going to talk about how to make the best of any Model United Nations, and I'm going to be sharing my lessons. I mean, things are actually learned in very hard ways. I mean, you should actually not make these mistakes, and that is why I'm going to share my experience with you. So ensure that you actually stay tuned. Then I would also make a video on tricks to actually win a debate, and I actually learned some of this from my hungers. Ensure that if you haven't yet subscribed, just click on the subscribe button, turn on your notifications so that you get notified when the videos come up. So don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. This is actually one of the ways to actually keep me going, and I appreciate my effort. Alright fam, till the next time I come your way again, I am Adro Badibora Iponowa. You guys follow me on my social media handles, because I mean, as I said, value is here and growth is here. Ciao ciao.